What's going on, everyone? We are back with the very much promised first preview of gameplay for our unnamed looter shooter inspired by Destiny 2. A lot of progress has been made on the game, and though there's still a lot of work to do still, and there's still things rough around the edges, which I'm sure you'll see on this video, I hope this video also kind of shows off that the game's come a long way, and it's continuing to go a very long way, with tons of new stuff, such as all those new guns I was just showing off, and then of course the level itself. So let's dive in. This is Life Lost Mesa, a desert mesa-like region with these giant mushrooms kind of blocking up the region. We'll talk more about the story in another video, but the general idea is here that you're trying to get to a fort, where you're trying to figure out why this abandoned fort's been taken back over by a warband. So basically in the background we have the video of me going through this level. This is only going to show like the first half of the level. We still have the entire back half, but it'll show the first area here with going up to the first boss, some mechanics, and by boss I mean mini boss, of course. And as you're watching this, at times you're going to see some moments seeming very difficult, some moments seeming a lot easier than they probably should be. That's because everything's still being balanced. Right now this is a shotgun that's meant to be more of a primary ammo shotgun, which I'll talk more about ammo in a moment, but this primary ammo shotgun we're finding is very overtuned at the moment, so I kind of used it a lot as a clutch for this video just to kind of get through the content. Then there's a couple weapons that do bigger damage that probably aren't as worthwhile to use. So the three weapons in the arsenal right now, current one you are seeing is called No Worries, which is a marksman rifle, which is kind of like a mix between the scout rifles in Destiny and a little bit of a sniper rifle. This one's aiming more towards the sniper rifle, but not quite there yet. We also haven't put down the aim down sights like scoping yet, so that hasn't been added into this video, but that is still to come. In this, you're also seeing a new element that we've put in is these guys with the swords and shields. You'll probably notice that they have this effect, as they're doing right now, knocking up this like ground. If you get hit by that, you can take some damage and you're slowed. So we've added some abilities onto enemies to add a little bit more dynamic elements into fights, which is awesome. I'm now using an SMG, which this is actually considered a heavy SMG, which is using up good chunks of ammo, but putting out quite a bit of damage if you can tell. Which this is probably a good time to actually talk about ammo very quickly. I talked about it in one of my very first videos, but if you're kind of new here, you might have not seen it. So at the bottom left, you're going to see our ammo bar. This is a bar for all of your guns. That white bar showing how much currently reloading will take up that bar. Think of it almost like a mana bar. This way we don't really have to worry about different ammo types for different weapons. Instead, heavy weapons take up bigger chunks of ammo, where your more like primary weapons use up a lot less, and you can gain that ammo back. We also do plan to make it so that enemies drop ammo on the ground, and we do even have an in-game lore reason why ammo works that way, but we're not going to talk about that too much today. Once again, just pushing our way towards this mini fortress here. We have a couple enemies on the ground going after us here. That sword guy's trying to get to us. Going to take out some of these ranged enemies. Yeah, with the ammo system, we're really happy with it so far. It allows the player not to feel like stifled. They can use, if they want to use all three weapons being heavy ammo weapons, they absolutely can. It just means that you're going to eat through that ammo bar a lot quicker. It also means that primary weapons have basically infinite ammo, and then special weapons in between. It does make balancing a little bit more difficult, but it's going to be worthwhile. And I've done a quick cut here to show that there is a hidden chest. There is 2 hidden chests so far in this level I planned, and this hidden chest just allows us to encourage players to explore. Now let's look at one of the first mechanics we've coded in. So when I kill this enemy here, you'll see I have a buff called Stack Charge. And when you shoot a generator, it will open a door, which allows us to prevent players from rushing through levels, but also allow players the need to kind of explore and try to figure out where to get these charges. Now, I will say you're going to notice that the frame rate's probably dropping here. I think that's just because I was recording this video. In my actual game itself, when I'm not recording, the frame rate runs totally fine. We've been practicing doing it against large groups of enemies at once with no issue, so I think it's just because I was recording at the same time. So at this point, you'll see we have quite a bit of these like sword guys coming after us, so we have to keep navigating around as they keep throwing down these slows on us while we're also dealing with a bunch of these mechanical spiders. Again, all these enemies are placeholder enemies. We have actual enemy factions we plan to include at some point. We just haven't had a chance to code them in yet or design them, but that's going to be eventually coming. So I'm just going to be working through all these shield and sword guys. And then you'll see that I have the grounded buff on the left side, so that's basically if you run out of time, you don't use your stack charge, you get grounded. In this particular case though, obviously we don't want soft lock players, so there is the opportunity for those enemies to respawn with the stack charge buff, so you can still get your way through, but it kind of encourages you to want to move fast at times where you're going to have to wait for things to respawn, or to figure out what you're doing before you just start kind of slaying out in some areas. I think I die at this part if I'm not mistaken, which is actually a really good example. Once again, we talked about this in a earlier video, but again, if you haven't seen this, you might not be familiar what happens when you die. So the first time you die in our game, you basically get put into a jumping puzzle, and you have a self-res option basically, which is if you can make it to the end of the jumping puzzle before that timer at the top middle hits 0 seconds, you basically have free self-res. And while you're also down, your allies can't pick you up. So you have the self-res, you either use it or you fail and you don't get to use it. But once you get to this plate, you stand on it, it brings you back to where you died. You have to move fast once you come back though, because enemies would have gone back into a default state obviously, but that doesn't mean that they aren't. That doesn't mean that they're not going to aggro back onto you depending on where they moved. So you have to be aware of your surroundings. Take out the guys that killed me. Some more enemies came into that space, obviously. And now we're going to push forward into the next room here. As you can kind of see, like, the gunplay between all these weapons feels very different. The shotgun has that nice heavy blast to it. This machine gun pistol, like I said, it's more of a heavy SMG, which I really like. It's kind of like an Uzi mix, which is like a lot of impact behind it. So this weapon has a lot of power behind it, despite its smaller size. And this archetype thing with the ammo just allows us to make lots of weapons have different feeling, which is a lot of fun. It gives us a lot of options for when designing weapons. Same with the marksman rifle, this marksman rifle. So far we're messing with a lot of heavier weapons to test out the ammo system, but there's going to be a lot of lighter weapons and special weapons and stuff once we get more used to the balancing. So now I'm going to be looking for where essentially the next stack charge is. We found the first generator and we figured it out, and to get through that last gate we need one more stack charge. We can either wait around for that enemy on the ground floor to just respawn, but that's going to take some time and not as fun, plus this enemy we know drops loot. So here we go, we have the big mini boss here, and this is one of the ones I will say, it turned out a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I think the weapons are a little bit overtuned for an enemy like that right now, or a fight like this, so we're going to be tuning this a lot more, but it kind of gives you the idea of still like what a mini boss is going to look like. So he also sends out those spikes, but in a much larger range. I gotta watch out for my side though, because I'm still getting attacked by those consistently spawning spiders. Just aim for the feet, don't want to get cornered here. And I'm just really looking forward to, like, once we manage to buff him up so he doesn't fall over super easily, having this guy chase you around, slowing you down, hitting you with his sword. He can be a real threat. One hit does almost like a quarter of your health, and you have all these spiders coming. Honestly, this fight I could probably tune it up by adding a few extra spiders spawning on you at any given point, or maybe even some of the smaller shield guys, but for now we'll keep it like this. So you can see it gives you that stack charge buff. Find the generator and shoot it. And basically this is like the end of where we've made it so far. There's more stuff to come. I already know what's the next couple of encounters, but I did want to show off where we've come so far. You guys have been super supportive, and I wanted to show where the game's really cooking up to be like. We're super excited for the future of it. This is really fun to play, and soon we're going to be doing some more dev multiplayer playing, so maybe I'll get some footage of that as well, especially as the level keeps getting designed. Alright guys, thanks a lot for checking out this video, really appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comments, thoughts, questions, comments. Love to hear it all. You guys have been super supportive so far, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.